Good afternoon, everybody. This is Dana B. and Charlie M. with a special report today. We're the Mountain Patriots Educational Ministries 3%. 1% of the 3% happens to be out shaking hands to all the graduates. So we want to say a big congratulations to all the students that are out there that are graduating in 2026. So congratulations, everybody. But Charlie and I wanted to make sure that we touch base. We know that we have a contentious state right now with what's happening on with our governor. We also know we have a contentious election coming up here in November. And there's a lot of moving parts to this. So I asked Charlie to come on, and we've done a little bit of research on a couple of executive orders. So I'm going to ask Charlie to take it away and explain to you what we're trying to cover today, and then I'll be pulling some stuff up to show you at the same time. How's that, Charlie?
Sounds good.
Works for me.
Okay. Executive Order 14399 that Trump issued on March 31st got challenged right away. And yesterday, was it yesterday or today?
Yesterday, the 28th.
Yesterday, Judge Nichols, a Trump appointee, was the one that they made their appeal to put a stay on that executive order, made a determination that no, I'm not going to issue a stay. It's a perfectly legal one, and it's perfectly constitutional. So what that executive order is all about is election integrity, and it basically solves the problem of mail-in ballots, and it may well be and citizen verification. You need to be a citizen to vote.
Absolutely.
And mail-in ballots are limited to military citizens and people who cannot make it to the polls. But there will not be mail-out ballots to everybody and his brother, and that's a really big deal. That executive order was told by the judge that it was perfectly fine. So it stands in place almost. They can appeal it, and they probably will, and they probably already have, to the Supreme Court. Now, with facts in front of everybody, it's constitutional. It's all about federal elections and all about the federal post office, over which President Trump, the administration, has control over those two items.
Federal organizations.
Yeah. So what they're doing is they're getting the DHS, and they're requiring that people, places, precincts, districts, clean their voter rolls to the extent of checking with the Department of Homeland Security and the Social Security Agency to complete an analysis of who are the citizens that are 18 and over, eligible to vote. And in addition to that, well, correct me if I'm wrong on this, that that there will be no ballots counted after Election Day. Is that part of this executive order?
Yep, this is what I've got. It does three things. Okay, it lets the DHS know, in coordination with the Social Security Administration, they get the opportunity to compile all states' citizenship list for each state, and then certify that roster of confirmed citizens that are over the age of 18, that are eligible to vote in a federal election. That's the first thing. Over 18, Social Security numbers match up, addresses are going to match up. It also directs the Postal Service to initiate a rulemaking process to impose stricter contracts on regulations on mail-ins, specifically requiring the post office to deliver mail to a ballot only to citizens okay, for the purpose of and the actions of what they're approved to do, which is vote. So that list has to be approved for supposedly for each state. Now we do know that the panicants, the Democrats, are jumping up and down, going, "This isn't fair," which I'll get to in a second. The third thing is it includes protection for procedures for the citizen to be able to um,
If they've
access.
been unfairly prevented from voting or feel that way.
Right. If
Right.
somebody feels that they were prevented from voting, it allows people, citizens, to access and update any of their information for any errors if they feel that the vote that they did was erroneously excluded. So, of course, the Democrats were appealing this before the ink was dry on the 31st. They were already jumping up and down. And what's crazy, Charlie, is Nancy Pelosi tried to do this back with COVID. Okay, we have to mandate everything goes by mail-in ballot. Well, we do know there's a couple numbers that we were able to find out and crunch. In 2024, from mail-ins, a third cast ballot in 2024. There was 48 million, 80% of California in 2024 voted by mail-in. 80%, 80%. Okay, didn't have to show up to the polls. And you can ask Grok or you can go Google this, and they're going to say, "Oh no, there was no cheating. Nothing has ever been proven." Of course, there were 6,500 ballots that might not have been right, but they were taken out of the equation. But that's not true. There's over 340,000 ballots, from what I understand, just right down there in Georgia that's working on right now. Here's another number that we found out. Over 20% in a survey held by the government, we found out that the survey shows that 20% of the partisan gap between Democrats and Republicans, it was a 20% difference in mail-in ballots between Republicans and Democrats. And I'm sorry, that's because Republicans are voting. The Democrats, in my opinion, were out there trying to harvest votes. Now, in 2024, this caught me too. 73% of the ballots that came in, the 73% of ballots that came in after Election Day, which are not supposed to count.
In Virginia.
In Virginia, 73% of the ballots that came into Virginia were for Harris. In Virginia, the day after. So a lot of these states were counting ballots afterwards. We know in 2020 there was supposed to be a water leak, and then there's always some kind of stupid excuse for people to not have to vote. But we wanted to cover this, and if you see the screen, it says the judge hands Trump the mail ballot win for now as Democrats' next move looms. Here's the Democrats' biggest problem with this. They said, and this is an open court, that they depended on voters who were not listed or confirmed citizen to be in that database. The judge is basically, well, sorry guys, that kind of sucks for you.
Yeah. That's crazy, because what they're basically saying is that the citizenship push to only have citizens vote will exclude some of the Democratic voters.
Quote unquote, the Democrats.
And the unsaid part of that sentence is because of some of the Democrat voters are not citizens.
Right. There's a couple other numbers to this. I've got down here, laugh out loud. They admitted it in court that the Democrat argument was that there would be less citizens able to vote. Less citizens would be able to vote because of, I don't know. I've worked the polls, and I don't know how many times I've seen people pull up on Election Day, Charlie, and somebody gets out of their car and there's a special parking space. A poll watcher can come out with the officer of election, and those people come in person to vote. If the vote is that important, show up for it. you know?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So the Supreme Court will probably be end up weighing on this, but the 73% of the votes that came in after Election Day, the Supreme Court's already looking at that. We do know that. Now, I got a couple other notes that New
Well,
Jersey registered Democrats accounted for 48% of post-election mail-in votes.
mm,
New Jersey registered Democrats accounted for 48% of post-election day mail-in votes, only 18% Republicans. So structurally, when you break this down to having to vote, okay, and you can't use these mail-in ballots, and nothing in this order says that you can't get an absentee ballot. You just literally have to prove citizenship to be able to do it. So what they found out is what actually happens, this Democrat part of it, they harvest ballots by going to every registered address, whether the people are alive. This is where the ballots go. Every registered address, whether people are alive, dead, citizen, registered, not registered, elders, whatever. So
or
they're
they
fighting
moved,
this executive order.
or they moved.
Or they move. That's another one. Okay.
So
So there's three.
one of the things that's critical about that, cleaning up the voter rolls so that we get rid of all of those that Dana just mentioned, um, because when the cheaters knew how many were not around to vote anymore, that
Right.
they could vote in their stead, that the very least one of the important things they knew was how many cheating false ballots they could put in the system and not exceed the total number of voters registered in that area. It's all about numbers.
It's all about
And
numbers.
yeah, it's not so much I'm going to take Joe Blow. Joe Blow moved. I'm going to take his ballot and I'm going to go there. I'm going to show up and put that in. No, they have ways of getting ballots in through the mail-in ballot process
They have
that
other ways to do it too.
they do.
There's an election official, Charlie, that I can't remember the name. I should have written it down. But this lady, her mother died on a week before the election, and right after she died, she voted for her dead mother. I mean,
Hmm.
I mean, come
Sure.
on, guys. So what this does, there's a couple things that this happens. Okay, first off, we know that John Thune, for whatever reason, I don't know whether it's on purpose or not. I'm waiting till the end, but John Thune and others refused to pass the Save America Act. Okay, so we'll start with that one. That's number one. Okay, um, the second part of this is restructuring the election system, because the way this has happened since COVID is the Democrat side has been able to restructure the voting system so that they can cheat through it. Okay, and the Democrats know it. So there's a couple parts of this. Number one, this is the first one of the executive orders. There's a lot of executive orders that people should look up. 13818, 13848, 13912. Those are three different ones that have to do with foreign interference and so forth. But illegal immigration and what we need to do with that. There's another piece to this. Over 3 million illegal immigrants with records have been taken out of the country so far. Okay, so that's 3 million less of a voting block. But if Thune and company decides that they're not going to pass the Save America Act, Trump also has, according to Mark Cook, who helped write the 17-page executive order that has not come out yet. Mark Cook has a site called the handcountroadshow.org. Go look it up, folks. Handcountroadshow.org. This executive order will come out probably towards the end of September, beginning of October, which will state 1-day voting, have to show ID, citizenship. You can't cheat the system. Kind of like you and Annie did the other day, Charlie. You and Annie went down to get her license renewed, and what happened? What did you have to go through?
Well, we had to have her birth certificate, her driver's license, and our marriage certificate, because her name was a little different, she had a different last name on her birth certificate, obviously.
Right.
But it's a process that we went there once and we were told we had to go back and get the marriage certificate. So, but just with a little persistence, you can get it done so that you can get the real driver's license with the little star in the corner.
Exactly.
And that may well be what's required for you to prove citizenship when you go and vote.
Well, you do know
They're
that
talking about proving citizenship when you go and register to vote.
most
So,
Americans are too dumb to do that, Charlie. I mean, that's
yeah,
what we've been told. I mean,
that's what
Obama
we've been
told us
led to
we didn't
believe.
build it and we
Yeah.
weren't smart enough. But here's something, and I have to give a shout out to, I listened to a gentleman on YouTube who is an absolutely fantastic reporter. His name is Dr. Steve Turley. You know Jonathan Turley on Fox. He comes on. So I did a lot of research after I was listening to Dr. Steve Turley, who kind of got me onto this. So I want to give a shout out to Dr. Steve Turley. You can find this out on his website as well. But 1 in 3 Americans voted by mail in 2024.
Wow,
We've gotten
that's
lazy.
a big statistic.
That's huge. That's
Yep.
33%.
You lay yourself out there for fraud by doing that, and a third of Americans voted that way, and it's very insecure.
And this is where it started, COVID-19 and the surge of mail-in ballots. Now, what we're going to find out soon is the fact that the COVID-19 virus was the whole pandemic. Now we're finding out that the shots were, people are dying from it. That whole thing was a scam. And it was designed so that they could do the mail-in ballot because they knew that President Trump would win again. Okay, so they locked us up.
And by the way, relative to cheating, if there are rhinos or even conservatives, Republicans cheating also, this'll stop them too.
Everybody.
This is a non-denominational solution.
Exactly. We're not just pointing out one group. We just know one group's better at it than the other group, but they both do it. You know, so 1 in 19 people with the surge of mail-in ballots was unprecedented in November of 2020. Okay. Let's see. We've already covered this piece right here about the judge. This is from Judge Nichols, Carl Nichols in DC. Yes, he is a Trump appointed judge. And then you notice, folks, also nearly 1 in 3 Americans voted by mail in the last election. So we literally need to stop this. So let's take a look forward. There's a lot that's happened. We've got illegal immigration that's being taken care of for the most part. And I find it very sad in New Jersey that they're trying to get they're trying to go against ICE agents to get 6 criminals out of it. It just
when before that, all they needed was one agent to go to the jail and pick up the illegal.
Exactly.
And because they made it illegal for ICE to go and pick them up at the jail, they forced them out into the street. Now they have to take a half a dozen people and some armament to go and do that because of the insurgents. Now they're not demonstrators; they're true insurgents going on and creating an insurgency in this country, and we better start treating them that way and not say their First Amendment rights. Baloney.
They don't have First Amendment rights. They're not citizens of the United States.
And they
do not get due process.
There will be American citizens there too, but that's not the point. A demonstration doesn't include violence, and we've got to get our handle on that. And violence is coupled with the insurgents that are pushing the overthrow of this country, state by state, county by county, ICE office by ICE office.
Right.
We've got to get that under control.
Now I'm going to give a little kudos here to our president right now. He is fantastic. He's the best president I've ever seen in my lifetime. Go ahead and yell at me. I'll take you on toe to toe. But look at the amount of money that we are spending right now for ICE agents, for court battles and you're complaining about prices and what things cost. Well, if you keep throwing money out the window, I mean, John Cornyn is a Republican. You know, he spent 9 times the amount of money than Ken Paxton for his seat in Texas. 9 times the amount. What could the Republicans or anybody have done with that amount of money? So we're wasting money, folks. We're wasting money. Just follow the Constitution. So
I find the finding on this executive order very encouraging.
Me too.
And I know President Trump is doing these executive orders within the Constitution, within the law. And so all the rest of them that Dana was talking about to solve these other problems, come up with paper ballots and hand counting. There's a variety of things that he's doing by executive order because Thune and company are refusing to pass the SAFE Act. Maybe they'll have an epiphany a few weeks or a week before the election and pass it, but that's not when it has to happen. And we're working on preparing so we know how, and our neighbors know how to count ballots the right way.
That's a way coming up.
Yeah,
that's coming up. So I'll leave us with this. We wanted to kind of keep this kind of short and sweet. This is our website, Mountain Patriots Educational Ministries. If you go over here to the right, there's all kinds of information about us. There's 7 different ministries. There's also a place that we're looking for people for podcast sign up. So if you want to help us with the 250th anniversary, all of that's here on trying to make America patriotic again. We are looking for people to play different parts, like we have with the Liberty Man. Please check out those videos as well.
Or just talk about somebody. You don't have to necessarily play the part.
Exactly. So here's where we are, folks. Send an email to mtpatriots@proton.me. There's a couple things that Mountain Patriots is going to do. Number one, we're going to keep bringing you information like this as we find it breaking. Thank you, Dr. Steve Turley, for tipping us off today. Secondly, we're passing, not only are we passing this information around, but we're going to have all the candidates that we can get to come up here and be on our podcast or meet with us in person. Thirdly, we are going to be working with, it's called handcountroadshow.org. handcountroadshow.org. We are going to be in August planning a day or so where we learn how to hand count ballots, because we're pretty sure, and this is encouraging because of 14399 executive order, we're pretty certain that Trump is going to put something out there. So if the SAVE Act doesn't go through, we will still have one-day voting with citizens. I can't promise it, but we're pretty daggone sure. But think about what happens if we have the Save America Act and at the same time we have an executive order. Mountain Patriots is all about preparedness, and we want to be prepared when they call us and say in September, hey, Virginians, we need people to hand count ballots. Will you be ready? Well, we're going to be ready, and we hope you will be as well.
Agreed.
So make sure you check out, this is our website. Make sure you contact Charlie and I. Let us know if there's anything else that you want to talk about. One thing I do want to share real quick, Charlie, before we go is I'm going to add this in. There are Commonwealth attorneys that are across the state of Virginia. Some of them, a lot of them are seeming to sign off on the fact that it's unconstitutional, this assault weapons ban. So the attorneys in the sheriff's office are going against that. From what I understand, I'm not sure about ours here in Frederick County. So we're going to encourage people to talk to our Commonwealth attorney and talk to our sheriff's office and the police department to let them know, hey, guys, you took an oath of office. We expect you to uphold our Second Amendment rights.
Because all these laws that she's putting out there are unconstitutional.
Every single one of them. And I hope also you'll go back and take a look at the podcast that we did yesterday about the 3 constitutional amendments that they're going to try to push in November, which is the firearms ban from convicted felons. Okay, what's your opinion on that? Same-sex marriage having to be performed by a minister, or you're supposed to have that done, or you can hold them accountable from what we understand. And then the abortion rights that are out on the table that are absolutely unconscionable. So, Charlie, are there any last words you want to give our viewing audience beside please share this, comment, subscribe, because it really helps us out, and donate to our cause?
Only that I'm encouraged today by the judge's decision.
Absolutely. Well, we do miss Scott, our 1% of the 3% that get on here and do this. And I want to thank everybody for taking the time. Please like, share, subscribe. It really helps our algorithms and helps us keep this going. And with that, Charlie, we'll end with the Patriot prayer. How's that?
Yes.
All right, folks, if you'll all bow your heads with us, we love this country and our Creator. The Mountain Patriot prayer is this: Dear Lord, thank you for this beautiful world in the country that you have given us and the patriots who are willing to care for it. Thank you for inspiring our founders to create this beautiful republic, and please help us to keep it as the inspiring place to live. Please give us wisdom to do the right things, the common sense to judge wisely, and the energy to never give up, and your unending grace in which we take comfort, Lord Jesus. In your name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
Well, that's another wrap up for a quick Mountain Patriot Educational Ministries update. And as we always end, as Rick Choi, our good friend and brother, our late friend and brother, would always say, this one
is in the book.
In the book. Folks, have a blessed day. We look forward to seeing you again.
God bless.
God bless.